So, as some of you would know me personally, I have been working on my fitness for just under 2 years now. It's something that means a lot to me, and it's something I've really held close to me. Like as you can see from the start of my YouTube channel on here, I've been posting videos of me working out for ages, and that was just when I built up the confidence to actually record myself in the gym. I was working out for maybe I think 4 or 5 months beforehand, and I used to look like this, and now I look like this. So this video is basically all about my fitness journey and honestly how fitness in general saved my own life. And it's a pretty personal video, so hopefully it does resonate with someone out there. And I really do hope you do enjoy. If you do, make sure to smash the like button down below and make sure to subscribe if you do like these sort of videos. So let's get straight into the transformation. So we're obviously going to start from the start, and this is when I took this photo. This is the first time I ever considered about doing fitness. This was after lockdown, probably my heaviest point. I was at 77 kg at 5'7". So it doesn't sound too bad off the bat. For me it sounds awful judging on how I weigh now, because at the moment I'm currently weighing 63 kg. But basically, I felt really bad in how I looked. I felt unathletic, especially for football after lockdown. I felt it very, very difficult to actually get a lot of athletic stuff done, especially with football, as I said. So I just felt in myself that I needed to make some sort of a change. So I started going swimming a lot. That's why in this photo I have the little swimming cap on and my obviously swimming shorts. But overall I just felt like shit, and I genuinely, I felt so bad in myself, especially for stuff going on in my personal life at the time. I just felt like I wasn't good enough for a lot of things. And so I was like, okay, if there's anything that can really help me, I've always really enjoyed playing football and just fitness in general. So I thought maybe if I just focused on it a little bit more, I would bring some sort of help towards my mental health at the time. So I was like, you know what, we'll start, going to the gym and we'll see what happens. But at this time, I was terrified to step in the gym. It's a pretty common occurrence nowadays that people are just absolutely terrified to step in the gym, and I completely understand that, judging on how I was when I first joined the gym. I joined the hotel gym local to me. Obviously it was nothing special because it's a hotel gym, but it done the job, and you can see it in earlier videos I posted on my YouTube channel. It wasn't the greatest and biggest gym, but it done the job. It was a good hotel gym. However, I just felt like when I went in and started doing weight training, I was being stared at, for example, not doing exercises wrong. Even though I could have been doing them right, in my head I was scared that I was doing them wrong and that I was embarrassing myself in front of a good amount of people. So my main thing was, I was like, okay, I'm just going to stay away from the weight training and just purely do cardio, which was not a good idea at all, judging on how the fact I lost weight during this time and how I looked overall. Obviously I got skinnier from doing cardio constantly, but I had no muscle mass whatsoever. So I ended up dropping a lot of weight, but that was also down to my eating at the time. Now, this is something that's obviously really personal to me, and it can trigger some things for other people. If you're uncomfortable with hearing about eating problems, I'd recommend skipping around 5 minutes or so, because that's probably how long this is gonna take. But basically, when I first started in the gym, I hated how I looked. I absolutely despised myself as a whole. So I really, I wanted to basically put myself through hell, in other words, to get rid of this person that I was. And so what I started doing is, when I was in the gym, I wouldn't, eat carbs before the gym, then proteins after the gym. It was literally like, okay, I'll have my bit of water with me in the gym. I'll do a 5K, maybe something like that, and just run for ages. Then I'll go on the bike, then I'll go on the rowing machine, then I'll go on that, that bike machine where you have two hands there and you start doing this. I don't know what it's called. I'll put a photo up of it, that machine, and I do that for maybe a 2 hour session. That'd be my session done. It'd be pure cardio. Basically, I started going to the gym in October of this time. So this photo was taken in October. I think by February or March I lost around 20 kilos. So I was looking at around 57 kg at this time. And if you can, if you're someone who's in the fitness industry yourself, you know that that is not a normal thing, especially with that weight drop. You can't just drop 20 kilos that quickly in a healthy way. And so that's basically how I'm gonna get into how I done that. So my eating was awful. Basically, I think I started eating at 12 p.m. So I woke up at around 10 a.m. maybe, fasted till 12, which is a normal thing. Intermittent fasting is fine. But I think I might have had maybe 2 Weetabix, and then I wouldn't eat till maybe 4 p.m. then have my dinner, and then I probably wouldn't eat till 8. I was eating 3 meals with minimum calories. I think I was probably having maybe 1,500 calories a day, which is not sustainable at all. I ended up getting sick a lot of the time. Overall, my eating in general was absolutely horrendous. And talking about it now, it really, I'm really, shocked with myself because I never really thought I'd be doing that sort of stuff. It's a normal thing for me now. It's like, okay, I need to cut down weight. I'm not going to eat that much, but I can eat a sustainable amount once I'm burning enough calories. Overall, I just think that in general, like, the whole eating thing was a huge issue for me, and I ended up going to skinny fat, which is, if some people don't know, it's basically when you lose a lot of weight but you have no muscle mass to show for it. Like, for example, this photo here, you can see that, yes, I have like a really skinny arms now, but like you can see my stomach, it's kind of like it basically goes like down and then it has like a rounded, lower sort of abdomen, and it looks horrible. I have to admit, I thought I looked awful again, and I honestly just could not find the comfortable state of my body to actually feel right in. And that's a problem I still have. I'm working hard constantly and constantly to try to make myself look as best as I can to myself. And for me, it's just for me it's still a struggle because you're your own worst enemy, your own worst critic. And for me, I constantly try and look my best when it comes to the gym, so I'm constantly in there. But for me, especially if I get like an injury or I get sick, I feel horrendous. I feel like I have to go and do something while I'm injured, which can obviously lead to a worse injury. Like, as I'm recording this right now, I've done my ligaments in my ankle, so I'm out for like 2 weeks. It's like a grade A ligament damage, and like all of a sudden I'm stuck in my house for a week, and I'm like, oh, here, I'm gonna get fat, I'm gonna put on weight, I'm gonna do this right before summer. When in reality, I'm probably not. I probably will put on a little bit of weight, but if I stay in a calorie deficit, I'm fine. And that's just little pieces of me that are still left from so long ago that's worried about, I don't want to be how I looked like that again. And like, I don't want to be that same person again like I was back in that October. And so for me, it's like, it's a really big struggle, and I think it is for a lot of people. Like, a lot of people will struggle with self-image, and I think it's a normal thing. But it's once you just feel comfortable in your own skin, that's the main thing. But like, as you can see in that photo, I have no muscle mass whatsoever. Don't get me wrong, I was flying around the football pitch. I thought I was class. Like, I got so much better at cardio wise for football, and I got so much better at football as a result of my cardio being so good. However, like, my body type, it looked awful. It was basically, you could see that I was not eating enough, so much of the fact that at one stage in a football game I had like basically something go on in my lungs, and where I had to come off the pitch and I couldn't breathe for a while. I don't know, because I'm not gonna go into the time stamp because I don't know how long I wasn't breathing for. I wasn't really counting. But like, there was a stage where I didn't have enough energy to actually see through a football game. Yes, I had good cardio, but because I wasn't eating before a game, or before, like, the night before, good food, I wasn't eating my like rice and chicken, before a game, or um I wasn't eating my Weetabix in the morning, or some sort of carb, source in the morning. I wasn't eating anything like that. I was just going, you know what, I'll just have my water and I'll go play football. And obviously that's not sustainable at all. You need to eat at some stage before a game as a sort of energy source, and I just didn't see that. And as a result, I gained a really bad relationship with food. I still don't have the greatest relationship with food, but it's more sustainable now. But like, back then, it was almost like, oh, chocolate, get it as far away from me as possible. It was almost like, oh, I have one chocolate bar, I'm instantly 20 kilos heavier. It was something that was really, horrible for me. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I don't have the most amount of sweets now as is, because I'm not really a big fan of, fast food and all that sort of stuff. But the odd time I'm gonna have, the odd time I might go to Nando's or whatever it is. But back then, it was like, you will not catch me within 100 meters or even a kilometer of a McDonald's, because you just wouldn't see me doing that, because I got so scared of getting anywhere near those fast food restaurants that the old person in me would be, oh, we'll have a little bit, and then it would start again. So I kind of had a really bad relationship with food as a whole, and it was really not sustainable whatsoever. Now, this led us into summer, and basically in this summer I was around maybe 60 kg. I maybe gained like a tiny little bit during, like, me obviously working out a lot. This is when I eventually started my weight training. I prioritized weight training a lot more because in summer I was realizing like, I'm not as, shredded as I thought I would be. Why am I not as shredded as I thought I would be? And that was purely down to me not having any muscle mass. Like, yes, when you have a lot of fat in your body, like I did when I was 77 kg, like you're gonna have a little bit of muscle mass, but you're not gonna have loads, especially if you haven't worked out before, because you're obviously your body's not going to just magically have, the most toned abs underneath your body without having any workout beforehand, unless you have like unbelievable genetics, which is fair enough if you do. But for me, obviously I didn't. So basically, due to me not having much weight training whatsoever, like I think the weight training I did do was like maybe 5 kg curls, or when I was doing chest, I would maybe do like 8 or 9 to 10 kg on a chest, like a chest incline press and stuff like that. So it was like nothing realistically, especially compared to what I do now. But it was just down to me not having, one, enough weight training, and two, enough protein in my diet. I was barely eating anything at this stage. So I was like, okay, I have to cop on to myself and actually realize that I have to start eating properly and actually working out properly, and then I'll actually get the results I want. So in this summer, basically, I would just constantly, again, go on runs, go to the gym constantly. Like this summer, I lived in the gym. This was the summer where I was like, okay, I'm going to use this summer as a whole to just work out, because at the time I was doing my junior cert, and I was like, okay, I have my junior cert this year. I need to work out and use that as my sort of mental health source, because obviously for a lot of people, especially myself, the gym is like almost therapy. So that's what I, kind of got into my head, like, okay, I can come home from school, I might stress about the junior cert. Yes, I did stress my lungs out over the junior cert, by the way. Don't, if you have your junior cert coming up, don't stress about it, genuinely, like you'll do fine. But for me, when I was doing my junior cert, I was so stressed out, and so I was like, okay, just use the gym as my, therapy. And for those 2 hours, oh my god, I felt like there was nothing wrong in the world. And then as soon as I went home, I realized I had to do some study, and then I literally, everything just crumbled down. So when you're thinking about doing your exams, I know I'm saying this, but by the time I do exams now next year, I'm going to be the exact same with the whole stressed out thing. But genuinely, if you're doing your junior cert within like the next 2 weeks or whenever it starts, don't be stressing, because this video will be out beforehand. But like genuinely, if any of you's listening or any of you's watching are doing your junior cert, don't stress out, you'll do fine, trust me. But basically, over this summer, I actually started eating properly. I went from around 57 kg to around 65. And for someone who's 5'7", 65 kg is pretty sustainable, because that's what I am right now. And you know what, I honestly felt a lot better in my body. Don't get me wrong, obviously putting on that amount of weight, kind of annoyed me with football, because I couldn't, I didn't do as much cardio as I was, because I was like, okay, this cardio hasn't really helped, so I'm just going to bulk up and prioritize weight training. Gym wise, yes, it worked out. Football wise, not as much, because I wasn't doing as much athletic training as I probably should be. But that's what I improved on. Nowadays I'm doing, your core, your cardio, your weight training, and plyometrics. So, it's kind of going hand in hand. But back then I didn't do much athletic training at all. But as you can see in this photo, I actually managed to get myself a little bit of abs, into summer. Basically, this is me when I was in Spain. And as you can see in like my past videos on my YouTube channel, me like working out in Spain, I managed to, just prioritize training abroad as well. Like, don't get me wrong, I made sure it was balanced. Obviously, we were in like a resort where it was all you can eat, like one of those all-inclusive holidays. So it was really good, because I could just go and devour every piece of rice and chicken I've seen in my life. So it was really handy for me, actually gaining muscle. And, it honestly made the holiday a lot better. And as you can see in the photo, like I gained a good amount of weight, but in a sense it was good weight, because I put on a lot of muscle. And that's when summer around then ended. I was doing a lot of football training, but you know what, I wasn't really enjoying football as much back then, I have to admit, because I kind of, gained a bad relationship with football at the time, and I was like, okay, I'm not really bothered. And I kind of just prioritized the gym. But now in this present time, I love football more than anything. And like back then, looking at how I was like reacting with football, like it was horrible. Like I was considering quitting football at the time, because I just, fell out of love with the game. I know that sounds really weird for me to say at 16, but I genuinely just did fall out of love with football. Like, yeah, I enjoyed training and just, playing matches, but because of the level I was at, I was like, it's so serious. Like, I'm not really arsed with it. But then obviously as the season went on, I loved football more and more. But at the time I was like really not enjoying football compared to the gym, so I kind of just prioritized the gym over it, which obviously led me into the whole bulking season, which was around September to December area. And this is where my football season really declined. My gym skyrocketed. Like for me, I got so big. Like I went from 65 kg to around 73 in my bulk until like obviously when the bulk ended. And I got a lot of size, I have to admit. Obviously I got a lot bigger, but as you can see in this photo here, like my arm like blew up. I have to admit, I thought I looked huge. But as a result, because I done little to no cardio in the gym, my football, season, and my whole football, cardio and whole, aspect of football declined horrendously. Like I could not run to save my life, and it was really bad. Like it genuinely affected my mental health, because I rate myself as a footballer. I think I'm decent enough. And because of how I was playing back then, I was like on the pitch, I was like, oh my god, I can't run. Like this is not normal for me. Normally I can run around like it's no problem, but all of a sudden now I can't run. And it really affected my mental health, because I was like, okay, this is something I'm used to doing. I'm used to being able to run. Now I can't do it. Why am I not able to run? And obviously, looking back on it, it's because I done legit no cardio. But now I'm doing cardio, so I'm obviously getting better as a person and an athlete, all around. So it's basically all about balance when it comes to sporting and gym. Like a lot of, like for me, it was kind of like, oh, I like the gym more. Let me push everything to the side and just focus on this, rather than kind of like balancing like 50-50 or something like that. You know what I mean? So now that I've found that balance, I'm enjoying both things a lot more, I have to admit. And that's something that can go for any footballer who might be listening or is getting into the gym and wants to bulk. Yes, you might, suffer a little bit of cardio differences, but if you do enough cardio in your bulk, like, one, it's probably going to help you, one, athletically, and two, it's probably going to make you look a lot better, leaner, for example. Like, obviously, you'll get big, but when you think about it, if you do a lot of athletic training, like plyometrics and core and cardio, it's going to develop your abs and stuff like that, and your overall core, area. So I feel like if you like bulk while you're doing all that, and then you cut down, I think you're going to be an absolute machine. Like I think that's probably the best way of putting it. But obviously I didn't think this, and I kind of just went on with just doing, weight training, weights, and then it just suffered. I got very big, yes. Well, in my opinion, I got big. I think comparing it, like when you put the two photos of me at the start of my journey to then side by side, I think it's insane, the difference. But you know what, my football thing, it wasn't sustainable, because I was like, if I continue like this, I'm just gonna end up packing in football, and I know in the long run, if I pack in football, I'm gonna regret it. So I kind of just wanted to focus a lot more on football and just overall cardio in general. So this led us into around December area. Now this is where my life went to shit, because as you'll know, I have my tattoo on my wrist. If you know the situation, it's basically my friend's name. That's all I really need to say. But that situation happened, and that set me into a rut completely. I isolated myself from nearly everybody, and I just kind of focused on myself completely. Like there was stages that just before my exams, Christmas exams, I wasn't bothered. I was like, school, get the fuck away from me. Everything around me was like, you know what, get away from me, just leave me alone, because I felt like, because I lost such a big part of my life, in a friend obviously, I felt like if I lose that again, I won't be able for anything. And so I was like, okay, nothing in the gym can hurt me, no one else can hurt me in the gym, that sort of sense. So I was like isolating myself. This has got a lot more personal anyways. But yeah, that's basically how I felt, and that's why, in my opinion, the gym sort of saved me in a way, because in a way it kind of made me mentally stronger. I was like, okay, if I work out and I know that I can, it'll take my mind off it. And obviously it did for the stage of my workout, but once I got home, obviously it came back. But it was just something that was sustainable for me, but in the long run it wasn't sustainable for whole like school, because obviously I didn't do the greatest in my exams, Christmas exams that is. And school wasn't helping. I stress out a lot, I'm a stressor. So the school, as a whole, school is just not for me. And at the time I absolutely despised it. I just didn't want to be there. I'd rather be anywhere else but in the classroom. Obviously, like, I don't mind it now, but like back then I was like, me in school did not get on very well at all. At this point, like while I was bulking, I joined a new gym. This is like the gym I'm still in, and I'm enjoying it more than ever, to be honest. And like overall, like after the exams and after the whole situation that happened, I developed a lot better mentality, and going into this summer, like that came up during this time period, I felt a lot better in myself. I was skinnier, I was leaner, and overall I just felt better. For example, like this is how I was looking going into this summer, and I was lean, I was fine, it was good. But like in this summer, I was like, overall, I felt a lot better. And this is where I really, developed my whole cardiovascular system in football in general. Like I was training football nearly every day in the summer, and like going out, working out, everything. I felt a lot better in myself, like especially with the bulk. And that's what kind of leads us into like the end of the year, going into this year. So like that's when I got the tattoo. I got the tattoo around, I think it was October, like just gone, and like everything was going really really well. I thought it was going super super good, and like it was going well. Like once we head into the start of this year, like my cardio again wasn't great after the bulk that I was explaining, but it was fine. Like I was able to do a bit of running, but I wasn't like as fast as normal. So I kind of wanted to work on that going into this year. So this is like overall, that's kind of like with the bulk stage over. Like I was doing good. I bulked over, as I said, to 73 kg, and it was overall pretty decent. Like my mental health improved, my body as a state improved. Obviously my cardio kind of suffered, but we're still working on that, and I'm doing pretty well at it. But yeah, overall, I thought like the bulk really helped me going forward. Obviously, in the time, it didn't feel like it did, but now looking back on it, it really, really did. Now, this is going into my current stage. As you know, basically, this is how I'm looking at the moment. So I'm currently 63 to 65 kg with water weight. Sometimes I weigh myself, I'm 65, and then I'm weighing myself, I'm 63. So it kind of just fluctuates between 63 and 65. I normally just say I'm 65 though, but basically, to put it in summary, I went from 77 kg to 57 kg to 65 kg to 73 kg and then back to 65 kg. So a lot of jumps. I can't do the math right now because I can't do math at all realistically, but overall we've lost around 28 kilos and then we've put on 16 kilos, which is kind of crazy now looking at it, but at the moment, if we're going overall, we've lost 28 kilos since the start. Obviously with the bulk, we've added on 16 kilos, but now we're weighing around 65 kg and honestly feeling more athletic than ever. Obviously I'm injured at the minute, but it gives me time to make a lot more of these videos, thankfully. But overall I'm feeling a lot more athletic, especially with plyometrics. That would be something I highly recommend for any athlete out there. Plyometrics are just amazing for any sort of movement. Obviously probably going to take me a long time to get back into them with the injury, but sure, look, we'll move on from that. But my current state, obviously, I'm looking like this right now, and when you compare how I'm looking now to how I was looking, I'm very happy with how I'm like the difference is. Obviously, with how I look right now, I'm still not happy with it, but realistically, once you step in the gym, as I said, you're your own worst critic. So, like for me, I'm still not happy with how I look. I'm still working on that. I want to get down to around 60 kg for this summer, so I'm still trying to lose around 5 kg, and at the moment, it's the 24th of May. So, we're still working on it. We still have a, decent amount of time. July for me is when I want to, have that, weight cut completed because of festivals and stuff like that and holidays. But overall, I think, like, in my opinion, I'm very proud of myself. And for anyone out there who might have been, struggling with sort of, the eating disorder part of this video, or whether they should bulk with football, because that was something I still struggle with. I'm like, do I want to bulk this year for football, or do I want to go full athletic training and stuff like that? Trust me, just trust your gut. I hope whoever's listening to this or whoever's watching this in general, I hope this has helped you out, because for me, it's honestly, I'd never thought I'd ever talk about this sort of stuff on camera and post it, to be honest, and it's something that's very personal to me. So, I hope it does help someone out there. And overall, like, genuinely, if you're in the gym or you're doing something and you're being that 1% better every day, you're doing yourself proud, genuinely. And if you're in the gym at all or doing any sort of sports that's actually improving your mental health, keep doing it, because trust me, in my opinion, exercise and just fitness in general is the best sort of thing for mental health, in my opinion anyways, other than being surrounded by friends and stuff like that. But for me, just fitness in general is such a huge part of my life that I was like, okay, I need to make some sort of video on this, because I know there's definitely at least one person out there who may be struggling with something similar, or will be the exact same as me, who is just, their whole life is surrounded by fitness. And I just hope that regardless of this video, if you're doing anything, as I said, you're being that 1% better, and you should be proud of yourself in every sort of way if you're actually, getting out there and doing something rather than sitting on your arse and doing nothing. If this has helped you or helps, give you a different aspect or perspective of something with fitness, do let me know in the comments. Hopefully this has helped you, as I said. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. If you do enjoy fitness or any sort of content like that, make sure to subscribe down below, and I really appreciate everyone who has tuned in and stuck to the end of this video, because it really does mean a lot to me. I will see you in the next video, and peace.